Failure to launch in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Pyongyang's first spy satellite plunged into the Yellow Sea after liftoff. Seoul and Tokyo activated emergency alerts and sirens warning residents to take cover or prepare for possible evacuation. U.S., Japan, and South Korea held a joint phone call condemning the failed launch. Pyongyang says it will try another launch soon after learning what went wrong this time. Jenny Town joins us for more. She's a senior fellow at the Stimson Center, a think tank here in Washington. She's also the director of the Stimson Center's 38 North program. Jenny, thank you for joining us on the program. What does this failed launch really tell us about DPRK's technology and capabilities, and how much of a setback is it for the country?
I mean, it's just a reminder not to underestimate the North Koreans. If they say they're going to do something, they will find a way to do it. It's not surprising that this first launch failed. They've had similar problems in the past with satellite launches. This is a new satellite launch vehicle that they were testing this time. And I would expect to see, launches again in the future with the same technologies, probably as soon as next week even.
Oh, as soon as next week. Okay, so what do you make of the timing of this one? Certainly comes at a time where a lot of focus around the world, especially in the Western world, has been on the conflict in Ukraine. It almost feels like Kim Jong-un is seeking anyone paying attention to me, pay attention to me. Look what I can do.
Well, this is one of the goals that Kim Jong-un really set out in January 2021. I don't think anyone should be surprised that it's happening, or that it's happening in this period. There was plenty of signs over the past year and a half, especially, that this was a technology that they were working on, that they were very dedicated to accomplishing it. And there were signs even late last year that they planned to do one in the first half of this year, and that was really their goal. Whether it's really time to, say, South Korea's recent satellite launch, or to U.S. ROK joint military exercises, resuming and being sort of the largest exercises they've done of this type in a long time. I think, some of that might be a little bit of coincidence, and some of it might just be that North Korea planned to do it around this time as soon as they could, as early this year as possible.
Clearly, those exercises you're talking about, the military drills, DPRK, Pyongyang sees this as a major provocation. Do you foresee a scenario where the U.S. and South Korea will put that on pause to pursue diplomacy? And speaking of diplomacy, is it pretty much dead at this point?
Well, there hasn't been any diplomacy basically since 2019, and there hasn't been any real meaningful communication between either the two Koreas or the U.S. or DPRK since then. I really doubt that there is any pause coming in military exercises. I do hope that we can get back to a more normal cycle, though, a more predictable cycle, and less of this ad hoc sort of in response, some in response to what North Korea is doing, and some as just actual military drills going on. I hope we can get back to more predictable cycles in order to move away from this provocation response spiral that we're in right now.
Have we ever been at a more predictable cycle, if you will?
Sure, certainly. Before 2018, before the summit process started, we used to have very specific cycles of joint military exercises. And so we would have, 6 weeks to, a few months of this going on at a time, in a spring cycle and a summer cycle, a fall cycle. And it was very predictable. There were very specific kinds of exercises that were done. And I understand that we haven't done exercises for a while, so there's some ground to be made up in the meantime. But at the same time, this back-to-back joint military exercises, live fire exercises, I think is to the point of questioning whether it's excessive to what's actually needed.
All right, we'll leave it there. Jenny Town, thank you.